Hello, welcome to the WGMU Radio. This is Dinanda Pramesti, and I am here with...
Nicholas Davila. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Okay, so this is Nicholas Davila, and he is going to talk about how his asthma exacerbates in the Northern Virginia, D.C. metropolitan area. Can you tell us more about air pollution in Northern Virginia contributes to your asthmatic symptoms and how what Northern Virginia needs to do better about it?
Sure. So I was actually born in Peru, and my asthma was kind of bad when I was a little kid. But I noticed that when I moved to Northern Virginia about 9 years ago now, it just got more annoying, but not as bad as it used to be when I was a kid. But I stopped having it for a while, and I don't know, I guess the pollution in the DC area is kind of bad, which every now and then I just need to get my inhaler out, but it hasn't gotten too bad where I'm having to go to the emergency room or anything like that.
Okay. I think that's really interesting. And where do you work? Can you tell us more about what your job and what you do? Because I know you work in DC, and DC is pretty polluted. So
yeah, so my company is actually based in McLean, but a lot of our business is in DC. So I spend most of my day in DC, and especially with pollen, it got kind of bad at first. I would not stop coughing. So my company told me to wear a face mask, which I have to wear whenever I'm near the processing center of the flowers, or whenever there's some flower specifically that's just really bad. So they just don't want to be liable, I guess. But whenever I'm in DC, it's a little worse because I usually wear the face mask, but I try not to because I think I look weird in it.
Tell me more about you mentioned about how car emissions and smog contribute to your asthma. And most people in Northern Virginia and DC use cars. Can you tell me more about that? And what do you think Northern Virginia could do to lower gas emissions?
Oh, well, definitely. Nova and DC has some of the worst traffic in the country, really. So I don't know what I could suggest personally to fix that, because there's going to be a lot of cars regardless. But a big thing for me that I learned when I was working with cars for a little while was that you have to do your emissions every 2 years. Mm-hmm. And even if your car in that 2 year period breaks down or whatever, you won't have to do anything to it. So there could be a lot of cars out there that are not really cleaning up their CO emissions or anything. So that's really bad because they're legally, or I guess it's illegal to drive like that, but nothing bad happens. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there could be harsher repercussions for these types of things, so emissions are not as bad.
And do you feel like, I guess, car companies can contribute to Virginia laws to help lowering gas emissions, maybe, and maybe use another method of transportation to lower gas emissions? What can they do?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like for people that have it worse than me, for them it's definitely more important than me. But to me, it's kind of important too. It's good to carpool. It's good to, with the rise of electric cars, that's also really good because they don't produce any emissions or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of public transportation is also trying to go green, which is really good. Cars that use fuel I don't think they're going to go away for a really long time, but I feel like we're definitely taking some good steps towards lowering our emissions, especially considering how it can hurt the environment and, especially people with asthma.
That's good. And one last question. We live near to airports, 2 or 3, including BWI. I guess I could include BWI in this sense because Baltimore is one of the most polluted areas. How does that affect your asthma? Because airplane emissions also contribute to air pollution. And I don't know if you've ever driven to Baltimore, but it's pretty darn polluted there. So
Right. Yeah. So where I grew up too, Peru, I lived pretty close to the airport too. So maybe that also had to do something with
Okay.
me getting asthma attacks when I was younger. But yeah, especially it's pretty bad because Dulles, it's one of the biggest airports in the country. Like you can take a flight there to pretty much anywhere, as far as I'm concerned.
yes.
And you got it's skipping the name, but the other one in DC, and BWI is also a huge one. So I haven't really noticed anything, but I'm sure it actually affects the quality of air that we have. So I don't know anything about engineering for airplanes or how they could stop their emissions, but
Yeah.
if they could, that'd be great.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today.
No problem.
This is Nicholas Davila, everyone.
All right, thank you for having me.